A little bit later with a meal provided between. Okay, so enjoy, relax, and allow God to speak to your hearts. Blessings.
Well, I'm very glad to be here this morning. It's my first time here in Hawkin, and I was enjoying the beautiful drive on the way here, and it was good to hear a little background there. I was speaking to a couple, telling me a little bit about the background here, the mines and so forth. That's so interesting. I didn't know about that part. I just knew that it was Minersville around here, isn't it? So there must have been some mines in the past. So before we start with our topic, I just want to let you know a little bit of my background. I'm coming here from Health-Wise Lifestyle Medicine. This is a non-profit organization located in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. And we do seminars, create resources. For example, we were just at a fair a couple of weeks ago, handing out resources to help people improve their health. And I travel very much. In fact, one summer, a couple of years ago, I had so many invitations that I put them all together. And this was the traveling schedule for 3 months with all my family. Okay, we went to all kinds of places, more than close to 20 countries. And it's good to see, that as you educate people in good principles, these are not American principles, these principles work worldwide. There's a guide that can complement what I'm speaking today to you, and this is called Optimize Your Immune System. It's a free guide. I'll show you in a minute where you can get a hold of this guide. And also the book Pandemic Busters. You have some copies here or not yet? Okay, but you'll be getting some copies soon. This book is my book. I wrote about all the interventions that you can do to improve that immune system. And this is the issue. Even with the vaccine, you still need to take care of yourself. I remember you saw in the news, it was in the news last week. I actually put it on my Twitter account if you want to read about it. There was a big outbreak in a nursing home in Connecticut, and 85 people out of 89 that got infected, they had the vaccine. And in fact, even some people died and so forth of those that were vaccinated. So even if you have the vaccine, you still need to take care of your health, And that's what we're going to be talking about today, a little bit of what we can practically do to improve that immunity. And that book is available on Amazon, it's available on Kindle, it's available on Audible. That book right now is being translated into 7 languages. It's been translated into Finnish, Lithuanian, Russian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese, and Swahili. It's a language from Africa. And here's the good news. In 2 weeks, this book is going to be free on Amazon. Write it down. December 4th and 5th. If you go to this page, just search for Pandemic Busters, this one, the Kindle version, the electronic version of the book is going to be free. Once you get it, it's yours for life. Okay? You can read it on your computer, on your tablet, on your cell phone, and so forth. Also that weekend, December 4th and 5th, we have an online event in which we have some friends of mine. We organized this meeting, and we're talking about relevant things to, start your new year. As some people start doing their resolutions and so forth. Well, it would be a good idea, to be informed about some of those things that we can work on. And this is called the I Thrive Summit. Just go to that website, iThriveSummit.com. And let me share from the beginning a little bit about my contact info. So I publish very much in the scientific literature. I have more than 140 published studies, and you can find those studies in this page. Francisco, which is my other name, Francisco Ramirez ResearchGate. Also that guide that I mentioned to you, that free guide, you can also get it from there. Just visit that website and you can download it for free. I'm going to be referring to a few of my published studies, so that page there is going to have those studies. Also, I have a very active Twitter account. I like Twitter because you're able to absorb a lot of information just reading a little bit. So I keep that quite updated there. It serves as a motivation for you to do positive changes. I talk about exercise, I talk about rest, I talk about meal timing, I talk about the importance of temperance, all these things. The latest of the latest usually are there on that Twitter account. Events that I'm participating, some of them are online, so you're able to learn about it and watch it later. And also there's a YouTube page there with many videos. And if you want to come and travel with me around the world, there's an Instagram. I'm showing you what I am seeing. So far this year, I've been to 9 countries. So it is something interesting if you want to see what type of things I am seeing. And let me give you a few samples of the things that I put on my Twitter account. This one, very interesting study on how if you don't do exercise, it is worse for your health than smoking, diabetes, and heart disease. So do you think exercise is important? We live in a very sedentary society. I travel to 85 countries in this planet. And I can tell you, there's some places where people do a lot of exercise. Places like rural Africa, everything there involves exercise. There's no market there to go and buy food. You have to go and cultivate your own food. There's no running water. People have to go with their buckets and walk, for a long ways to bring some water home. There's no gas to turn on your stove or electricity. You have to go and cut a piece of wood somewhere there and bring it home. Everything is constant physical exercise. But here in America, things are so easy, isn't it? You just put like this, boom, there's a fire there. You click and then the light goes on. And everything is so easy. So we need to make sure that we find ways of being physically active. In fact, it is actually good for us, for our mood. Look at this study here. How exercise makes you more happy than money. There's some people killing themselves, overworking and so forth because they want to make more money and because they think that's going to make them happy. Well, it's better to invest in some good shoes, isn't it, and then go for a nice walk. I think that will be better for your mood. And this other one also, this male, he is the longest living male in the world. And they asked him, what is your secret for your longevity? He shared 2 things. Number 1, always smile. Even when you try to smile and when you don't feel like smiling, it's actually good for you. It changes the neurochemistry here in your brain. And number 2, he said, don't get angry. Okay? And many times the media is good at making us angry, isn't it? Going to show us exactly there in our face, and that's not good for us. When you get angry, you generate what are called the oxygen-free radicals, which damage your cells. They literally age you anytime that you get angry. And by damaging your cells, you also increase the risk of cancer, of heart disease, and many other problems. So make sure you keep those emotions under control. And sometimes emotions are not well under control because sometimes we're not doing the other things we need to be doing. Okay? As I mentioned, one of them, exercise, helps regulate our mood and help us deal with stress in a better way. And this other one, very interesting study, this is from Johns Hopkins University, how those people that were infected by COVID previously and generated some immunity, that immunity is showing to be quite good. Again, that's in this Twitter account. I have many more. So, some people ask, Doctor, how come we don't stop this coronavirus? Well, trying to stop that coronavirus is like trying to stop this fish. It is very easy. Very easy to stop this fish. Can you stop this fish? See, it's the same story with this coronavirus. What's going to end up happening, and what the research is showing, is that this thing is here for the long term. So the question is not how to avoid it, but are you going to be ready the day you face it? Because it's probably going to become something endemic, something that just becomes part of the whole thing, just like the flu became part of the of a cycle that you meet over and over again. Therefore, we need to have good knowledge so that we can make good decisions. That's why I'm so happy that you guys are here, because you are going to learn this important information that can give you that edge as we continue to face this problem. I have done research on the subject. This is one of my published papers. I think you can find it on that ResearchGate page that I show you at the beginning. And in this study, I am focusing on something that is called hydrotherapy, or sometimes it's called hydrothermal therapy, which basically means using water and changes in temperature in that water and what type of effect it has on our immunity. I'll show you a little bit later how this works and how you can do some of this at home. You don't need to have a big investment to participate of something like this. But first, let us understand the enemy that we are facing. So, there's different types of viruses. Some are called DNA, some are called RNA. This one is an RNA. And the reason why this is so infectious is because of the following. See, there are some viruses that have negative sense. In other words, the code that codifies the virus is in a negative form. So in order to infect you, your body first needs to transform that negative sense into a positive sense, and then they infect you. So these viruses, because of that extra process, they tend to be less infectious. But guess what? Coronavirus family of viruses are what? Are positive, which means as soon as they enter, they're infectious. That's one of the reasons why this virus is so infectious. Now, one of the weak points of this virus happens to be around its surface. See, around the virus, there is something that is composed of lipid, of fat. Question, what do you have at home that you use when your dishes are all greasy and so forth? What do you put there? Soap, good old soap. Okay. Soap is something that will dissolve that layer and will end up, inactivating this virus. So how does it work, this virus? Okay, so even the name of the virus tells us about how this works. Because when you look on this virus on an electronic microscope, the way this virus looks, we have something that picks out here. Those are called the spike proteins. So the reason why they're called the coronavirus is because in Latin, corona means crown. So when you look in the electronic microscope, it looks like this virus has a crown because of those things poking out. Now those spike proteins, when the virus enters the human body, those spike proteins connect to certain receptors that we have in our body called the ACE2. Now, depending on the receptor that the virus connects is usually where this virus tends to give you more symptoms and attacks. For example, the common cold, okay, usually connects to receptors that happen to be around our nose. And that's why the symptomatology of the cold virus. What do you get? You get this runny nose, you get this sneezing because of the irritation that is happening, you get this redness and so forth because it connects to that area. Our body, the ACE2 receptors happen to be a little bit different. They're more close to your lungs. That's why some people end up with pneumonia when they get this virus. They also are some of these receptors in your digestive tract. That's why some people, when they get this virus, end up with diarrheas and so forth, because that's where the virus is connected. So as soon as the virus connects in one of those receptors, it downloads the code into your cells. And your cells suddenly become factories of virus. So your own cells that are supposed to be making good things for you, now they become these factories of this virus, and then your body packages that virus, and then the virus is released. So then when you cough and so forth, you are sending those viruses all over the place. So that's the way that this virus operates. Now, this is very important. Here's a little chart that we can see what will be the progression of this disease. So you have contact with that virus, and then about 5 days, some people is 7, some people is 10, some people is actually shorter. That's when the symptoms are going to start. You know, you feel tired, you may have a fever, you don't feel good at all, and so forth. But then, within a matter of about 7 days, things either are going to start getting better, or things are going to end up getting worse, and then you're going to have to go to a hospital or find some sort of health care because things can become more complicated. Now, what's the statistic? And this is very important. The statistic is the following. About 80% of the people, their immune system is going to be able to handle this virus, and things are not going to get more complicated. Okay? But the worrisome part is this 20% of the people. These are the ones that worry us. And this is what I'm going to focus today, so that we can become more the 80% and not that 20%. That 20% are the subgroup of people that will end up getting worse. They're going to end up with what is called severe COVID-19. And those are the ones that are going to have to go to the hospital. And then a subgroup of them are going to keep on getting worse. And they're going to end up in the ICU. And sadly, a subgroup of them are the ones that are going to end up dying of this COVID-19. So, if we can move things from this 80% so they can become 85%, so they can become 90%, so they can become 95%, we are helping a lot of people. Now, this is what ended up happening. What we have in our bodies, we have two parts of our immune system. So we have what is called the innate immune system. The innate immune system is the immune system that you are born with. Okay? So this innate immune system is able to handle things you have never seen. A new bacteria, a new virus that your body has never even seen before, it's able to face it and attack it. So if you have not had contact with COVID-19 or vaccine or something like that, then what's going to be fighting that coronavirus is going to be this innate immune system. Therefore, things that improve that innate immune system are going to be important. Now you have the other part of your immune system called the adaptive immune system. The adaptive immune system, as you face certain bacteria or certain virus, your body learns about it, and the next time you face it, you're going to be able to overcome it easier. Now, one of the key chemicals that your body will make whenever you are facing a viral infection is something that is called the interferons. And these things are very, very important. Interferons. So, as its name says, interferons interfere with the viruses. Okay, that's the way I like to teach it to my patients. Okay, so we need to find ways of increasing those interferons because of the following. Look at this published study. So, in this published study, it's saying that when there is viral replication, this is going to cause a lot of production of those interferons, okay? And then it says that COVID-19, if it's delayed, if it's too slow in increasing those interferons, okay, this is what will determine if you're going to have severe coronavirus or mild coronavirus. In other words, if the interferon is nice and high in your body and you're facing the coronavirus, if that level is nice and high, your body's going to be able to control that infection. It won't go into worse. But if your levels of interferon are low and you face this virus, then you have high probability of ending up with that severe COVID, the 20% that we're talking about. Okay? That's why this is such an important thing to understand. These facts strongly indicate that what immune system? Innate immune system response is a critical factor for disease outcome. So not only your interference, but also what function, what level of function you have on your innate immune system. And this is the issue with the innate immune system. As you get older, the innate gets weaker. Okay? Therefore, we need to find ways of stimulating that innate immune system. Look at this other one about those interferons and COVID-19. Notice what it says. Severe SARS. SARS is the name of the virus that causes COVID-19. Severe SARS had higher viral loads and delayed interferon response, what we're talking about. Thus, it could be that the patients most susceptible to severe disease are those that cannot mount an effective early antiviral immune response. Notice that. So, those that at the beginning were able to have a nice immune response, those are the ones that are going to end up with the mild disease. But those with severe disease are those that at the beginning they couldn't stimulate enough that immune system. Type 1 and type 2 interferon responses were the highest in patients with what type? Mild and what? Moderate. And were low, the interferons were low in patients with what? With severe or critical disease. Patients with more severe disease had less type 1 interferon activity in their blood. So can you see the importance of these interferons? See, these interferons are going to be the ones predicting if you will have the severe type of coronavirus or the mild type. So, nice and high levels of immunity and nice and high interference